Hello everyone, Fanta here, you're watching FANTAVISION, and today I'm discussing whether or not The Witcher 3 is something that should be left in the past, or if it really is worth buying now or replaying again. Now, The Witcher 3 and I have an interesting relationship that I need to kind of clear the air on immediately, and it's very nostalgic to me. It's a very nostalgic game. It was one of the first games, if not the first game, I ever did a review on. And I was very rusty. I did a very bad job reviewing the game, to be completely honest. But because of it being the first review copy, my first relationship with a company, I want to clear the air on that right now. But even if that wasn't the case, I've still bought the game for the PS4. I've still bought other stuff from that company. It's not like they've given me everything. And I gotta say, I think the game's worth coming back to. Even though every single website right now is just covering this game, and every single person is rushing back to play the game just because of the show, there's a reason that it keeps breaking records, it seems. Like, it hit like 100,000 users or some crazy number. It beat its original launch numbers recently because this show is basically a giant advertisement for a almost 5-year-old game. And because it is a 5-year-old game, we do need to discuss, is it worth going back? Or are people putting on their rose-tinted glasses and or just buying into the hype to go back and play this game? Now, I've already gone back, started playing the game again, and the detail in the world, the characters, even just the random characters you meet in side quests, they're so well voice acted. They have a character, like they're just side people, and they still have like a character to them. I mean, they talk about their family and how, oh, this money that I'm giving you is for my daughter's dowry. I mean, the very beginning of the game, it's so rich with lore and backstory, and even if you haven't played the other two games, which I haven't even played, you can still easily get into this game, especially if you've watched the show. If you haven't watched the show already, it is a really good show. I need to talk about that as well. I haven't really talked about it in anything. I was going to do a video about it, but it was kind of too late. But the show is worth watching. The order in which all the events play out is a little bit wonky, but if you pay attention and really keep track of what's going on, you can definitely tell and follow the story. And I do actually recommend you watch the show before you play the game. It's on Netflix. Everybody has Netflix. There's no reason not to watch it. And it really does help set up who this character is. And even though the portrayals are a little bit different in the show as opposed to the game, most of it lines up perfectly to who these characters are and sets up a lot of things that you might have missed when you start playing The Witcher 3. But even if you don't watch the show, honestly, it does keep you in the loop enough to know, hey, a lot of other people have not played the previous two games. I believe this is the first of the series that has actually made it to a home console. So because of that, they knew there was going to be a large audience that people, didn't play those other games. So even if you haven't played those, I still highly recommend The Witcher 3. It's been on sale so many times, the Game of the Year edition. CD Projekt Red has... I mean, they really put their heart and soul into their games, it feels like. They really do care. I've talked about the box, just the box of the game, and what it comes with so many times because it's just astounding to me how much crap comes in just the box. But if you're just going to buy the digital copy on PC, I still recommend you do it on GOG because it comes with lots of other extras as well, and it's DRM free. But if you want to buy on Steam, even without the extras, the game is still worth the price. You can easily find it for $20, $15 on a consistent basis for a game that is going to give you hundreds of hours of enjoyment. The graphics are still really good, especially on the PC and the console. They're going to be a little bit dated. The game is almost 5 years old, and there are definitely still bugs and glitches. Even on the PC, I have not downloaded any fixed patches. I've not downloaded any mods. I'm playing the game strictly vanilla, and I'll probably play through the whole game like that before I think about doing a new game plus with some random stuff thrown in. Because I always get lost in the weeds and download the weirdest mods and completely break the game. Just look at my Left 4 Dead 2. I recommend you do the same. I recommend you guys play the game how it was originally released. Of course, it's got all the updates. I recommend you definitely get the Game of the Year edition. There's no reason not to. The expansions add so much content, and there are definitely a few criticisms about the game besides just the bugs that will randomly pop up that really don't seem to break the game too much. There was a part where I wasn't supposed to get behind the rubble of this house, and I thought I was going to get stuck back there and have to reload a save, but thankfully I guess the developers knew that might happen, so you just kind of climb on air to get out of the rubble. Really strange. I don't know why they put loot back there, because there is definitely the possibility of getting stuck. At least it felt like it. The horse controls are kind of iffy. Some of the controls just overall are a little bit iffy. A lot of people don't like the combat in this game. I have restarted playing the game again. I completely forgot what the combat was like, and honestly, I don't think it's that bad. I've played a lot of other games with much worse combat. I like the animations. I like the dodge mechanics, the roll mechanic, the ability to lock on, kind of like in Zelda. There's a lot of great combat mechanics, and mixing up, light attacks with heavy attacks and your sign. And even though it sounds a little bit simplistic, there's also other things you can unlock later on that use up adrenaline. And when you're going into a combat scenario, especially against a bigger boss or creature, the game has a bestiary in it. And as you learn more about these creatures, it will fill the bestiary, and it'll tell you what they're weak to. So you can prepare before the fight, you can make specific potions, use specific signs, and different combat techniques to take down that enemy. And I think that adds a lot of depth to the game. It adds a lot of interesting scenarios that normally you just, I'm just going to slash it to death with my sword. No, use this sign to make it, able to hit the very first, real creature you fight. It has all these different things, and it's got a backstory to these creatures, and sometimes they've got really, sad pasts, and you learn their fate, and yeah, they're this horrible monster now, but they used to be this person that was just taken advantage of or murdered for no reason, and you're like, wow, all of that just for a side quest. You feel so bad for these characters. And this is definitely a dark fantasy, so if you're looking for just a happy-go-lucky romp through the woods, you're not going to find that here. This is not Breath of the Wild. This game has people hanging from trees everywhere, up in pikes, learning the backstories of these horrible victims that have now become monsters, interesting relationships that your character has with people and how you deal with strangers, and you're definitely not the hero in this. That's another thing about this game that is completely different, and why I urge you to play it, is you are not the hero. In Skyrim, you're the Dragonborn, you're the chosen one. Everyone talks about you, you're amazing. And all these other fantasy games, the whole point is like a power fantasy. Like, oh, I'm the famous, most powerful person, I'm the hero. In this game, you're just walking through town and people are spitting at you. People call you a weirdo, they call you a mutant, they call you a mistake. They call you all these different horrible things, because you are that character. You're the outcast. You're not the hero. You are the hero, but you're not the hero they deserve. You know what I mean? The Batman thing. There you go. It's just an interesting take on a very familiar genre. It's an open world game that definitely feels open world, and there's lots of random events and things you can explore and do. It doesn't have that stupid fake open world crap that Assassin's Creed has, where I'm gonna go get all the feathers around the map. Side quests. I cannot stress how much you need to do the side quests. Not just because if you don't do the side quests, the game is going to be a pain in the ass for you and you're gonna hate it, because you need to level up, you need to actually learn the game, you need to get your character to have better armor, you need to do all these different things to make sure that your progression does not suck. Because if you do it wrong, that's another drawback. You can definitely ruin your own game experience by rushing through the main story. Some people are going to tell me I'm wrong, but that was my experience with the game. If you play through the side quests, not only are you taking in all these story-rich missions that have been well written, and there's just so much to this game that I love. So do the side quests, they're worth it. A lot of other games are just kind of throwaway, talk to this person, do that. And of course there are definitely a couple in there. There's plenty in there that are like that, but there are lots of really good side quests with branching storylines of themselves. I mean, I have gotten lost in this game just doing side quests, and I know that's kind of a meme at this point, but it's so true, and that's why it is such a meme. I don't think it's an overhyped game. I don't think it's something that should just be left in the past and remembered fondly. I think it's a game that I highly recommend you pick up and play if you haven't already. And if you haven't played the expansions, get the Game of the Year edition. Start from the very beginning so you don't, wonder what the hell's going on in the story. You can get immersed back in that world again. And it's so cheap, there's no reason not to, honestly. So there you go. Hopefully that helped you out. Leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe for more content. And as always, have a fantastic day. See ya.